Hello, everybody. I hope you had a great week. Today is August 1st, 2025, and this is your Friday planning video. Let me start with a story. A few years ago, a client of mine, we'll call her Lisa, she came in with the most color coded Excel spreadsheet you've ever seen. She had retirement forecasted to the dollar, every investment, every Social Security estimate, every travel budget for the next 30 years. She looked at me and said, "So doesn't this look right?" And I said, "Lisa, this looks beautiful, but I'm going to mess it up." She blinked and she says, "What do you mean?" I told her because life is going to mess it up. The question isn't whether this plan is right. The question is whether it can handle being wrong. That's the whole point of today's topic, why we plan to build flexibility, not predictions. Let's talk about how we stop chasing certainty and start building resilience. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we had just planned hard enough, we'll outsmart uncertainty. But the real world doesn't work that way. Interest rates move, health declines, kids change course, companies restructure, politics swing, markets correct. And when we've built a plan that relies on everything going exactly as expected, that's not a plan. That's a house of cards. You don't need a plan that's perfect on paper. You need one that holds up in real life. That's what real planning is about. It's not a forecast, it's a framework. Here's how we build that framework into your financial life. Let's talk retirement guardrails. We don't just pick a withdrawal number and we stick with it forever. We set upper and lower guardrails. If the market's on fire, great. Maybe you travel a little bit more. If it cools off, maybe you tighten that belt, you skip that extra trip, and you give your nest egg some breathing room. You don't panic, you adjust. How about asset buckets? Think about your money in buckets. One for the next 1 to 2 years, that's cash and short-term bonds and CDs maybe. One for years 3 through 7, maybe a balanced mix of that. And one for years 8 and beyond, growth oriented. Now, when a recession hits, your long-term money stays untouched. You've got what you need in the short-term bucket to keep you living your life. About tax diversity. We've talked about this a lot. We build flexibility in how you withdraw your money. Traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, brokerage accounts, they all play a role. Why? Because tax policies change. We want to give you options. Being able to pivot between tax deferred and tax-free income streams, they can be a game changer. Contingency planning. Sometimes the question isn't what's the plan, it's what's plan B. We run projections for long-term care, premature death, disability, job loss. We talk about funding college if your child goes. What if they don't? We plan for both. Here's the hidden benefit. Good planning helps you make better decisions under stress. Because let's face it, when things go sideways, the temptation to react is real. In 2020, some folks panicked and pulled everything out. In 2022, others chased energy stocks at the peak. 2024, some investors jumped to cash over election fears. Then they missed the rebound. The clients who stayed calm, almost without exception, they were the ones who already had a plan, not just a portfolio, but a roadmap. They had talked through scenarios and they felt prepared. That preparation doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives you confidence. And confidence is what keeps you from overreacting. This is the part that often goes overlooked. Financial planning isn't just a spreadsheet, it's a conversation. So here's a challenge for this weekend. Talk to someone you love about why you plan. If you're married, ask, if one of us had to retire early, what would we want life to look like? If you have older kids, bring them into the loop. If we ever needed care or needed help, what kind of support would we want to build into that plan? If you're single, ask a trusted friend or family member to review your backup plans with you. Who would step in? Who knows where your documents are? Flexible planning is about shared understanding. It's not about just numbers. It's the relationships, the conversations, the clarity that allow you and your loved ones to pivot with grace. These aren't always easy conversations, but they're some of the most powerful ones you can have. Some people think flexibility is a kind of compromise. Well, I guess I won't get exactly what I want, so I'll build a backup. But I want to flip that around. Flexibility is strength. It's what allows you to keep going when things don't go as planned. It's what allows you to stay generous in hard times. It's what allows you to sleep at night when the headlines scream uncertainty. It's not about aiming lower. It's about holding your plan with open hands, strong enough to act, open enough to adjust. I tell clients this all the time. The best plans aren't the ones that look smartest in hindsight. They're the ones that held up when it mattered. Here's the action list for this week. Identify your rigid points. Where is your plan assuming this has to go right? That's where we need flexibility. Revisit your safety nets, emergency fund, insurance, income options. Do you have enough buffers built in? Have one meaningful planning conversation with your spouse, your kids, or yourself. Ask, what if life throws a curveball next year? Get a second set of eyes. If we haven't updated your plan in a while, or if you've made some changes that we haven't talked about, let's fix that. The world's moving fast. Your plan should keep up. Here's the truth I've seen play out over 30 plus years in this business. The people who feel most confident about their future, they're not the ones with the biggest accounts always. They're the ones with the clearest plans and the ability to adapt when life throws them something new. We don't plan because we know what's going to happen. We plan because we don't. That's not a weakness, that's wisdom. So here's to building a strong, flexible, human-centered plans that give you room to breathe, room to grow, and room to keep living the life you want no matter what comes. As always, if you want to take the next step or even just ask a few what if questions, reach out. That's what I'm here for. Have a great weekend.